Welcome to Positively Muskegon. It's Andy O'Reilly, and I am at the Torrent House today. Shame on me. All these years in Muskegon, this is the first time I've ever been in the Torrent House. Sherri Winston is our guest today, and you know Barb Klingenmaier. She is, right?
Right.
Yep. She's the one that cracked the whip on this interview and said, Andy, get down here. You have to meet Sherri. She is a Heights Tiger. She is now a Florida resident, and she's back up here in Muskegon. She's going to be at the Muskegon Heights Library this Saturday.
Orange and black. Woo!
Yeah, see that? Tiger pride runs deep, man. You're always a tiger. That's what I'm here to tell you. And Sherri is a children's author. She writes for kids in their, mid to early teens?
Yes, I do what's called middle grade.
Middle grade.
So it's anywhere from 4th grade to 8th grade.
Okay, and that's kind of where you found your love for writing, because you were like a Nancy Drew fan.
I was indeed. Yeah.
Talk to me about your inspiration for getting into this stuff.
Well, when I was a kid, when I grew up right here in Muskegon Heights, my mom was a cashier at Kmart.
Okay.
And, you know, she was a single mom with 5 kids, and she was divorced. My dad was present, but he wasn't a part of our household.
Sure.
So money was tight, and, you know, so for me to be able to get hardback Nancy Drew books was a big deal.
Sure.
And she would, because she was a cashier, she hated shopping. She hated going to the grocery store. So my big job at 9 was to do the weekly shopping. And I would cut coupons and do the circulars. And if I could buy everything on her list and still have money left over, I could use that money for books.
Teach them young.
So that was how I learned to bargain shop. I used to wear a little poncho and had little pockets in it, so I would put the coupons, the cut coupons, in the pocket. And then, I think at Meijer then, Nancy Drew book was like $2.95. And, so it was something to be able to buy all, the chicken, the peanut butter, the cookies, the bread, and still have the money left over. And then some weeks I had enough for 2, or I could get a book and my own special reading snack. So that was how that started. And I always thought that when I grew up, I would write mysteries, and I wanted to be just like Carolyn Keene, and and then of course later I find out that Carolyn Keene isn't really a person; it's a pseudonym. And I've published I think 5 books now, and none of them have been mysteries. So I'm still trying for my first mystery, but I figure I'm telling the stories that are there to be told. And
absolutely, you've had a hand in bringing Sherri back to put this thing on Saturday.
Yes, we're very, very fortunate to have been able to partner with the Muskegon Heights Friends Board.
Yep.
And I'm the president of the Hackely Public Library Friends Board.
Yeah, she loves the Hackely Library. You can't. Pull her over on the street, say hi, and you're gonna get an hour elevator speech about the Hackely Library, which is what you need. Very important.
Exactly. And for those of you who haven't been to the Torrent House or who don't know about the Torrent House, it's right across the street from the library, and this was purchased by the Friends of Hackney Public Library, and it's really an auxiliary space. The Genealogical Society is here, and there's offices for library staff, so it's much needed, and we were able to retrieve this building from being torn down.
Yeah,
so
don't need that.
It's a beautiful piece of history.
It really is.
So Muskegon Heights Library, the Friends Board, actually got sponsorship from C3, West Michigan's Inclusive Spiritual Connection, Coalition for Community Development, Friends of Muskegon Heights branch of MADL, Muskegon Area District Library, Muskegon Rotary Club, Women's Division, Chamber of Commerce. They sponsored Sherri coming here and doing presentations, workshops in the schools in Muskegon Heights Thursday and Friday. We have Sherri at Hackely Library for a writing workshop Saturday morning, this coming Saturday the 14th, from 10:30 to noon. And then she is in the Heights at 1:30 for another workshop. Okay. So I had to make sure I got all of those sponsors in.
They're a big deal. You're kind of a big deal.
All of these sponsors, because if it was not for that sponsorship, Muskegon Heights would not have been able to bring her, and we would not have had the opportunity to
Sure.
collaborate with them and to piggyback,
Right.
which is a first, I think. So
And I love programs like that because there are a lot of schools out there with budgets, and they can the idea of bringing in an author for $300 for half a day or $600 for a whole day is nothing to them.
Yeah.
I'm on the low end of the pricing spectrum.
Sure.
And I've done that intentionally because being able to be here for the kind of kids whose schools can't afford it is why I do what I do.
Absolutely.
I can't even imagine what it would have meant to me as a 9 or 10-year-old to have the opportunity to meet someone who was actually writing books.
Right.
And so, I've had a lot of positive experiences, and kids are funny because you tell them, oh, the speaker is coming in, and Sherri Winston wrote President of the Whole Sixth Grade, and they come in and they're like this, and they're looking at you like, do authors look different in person? You see them scanning you, and then so I do my little spiel, I do my presentation, I involve them, I talk to them, I show them my movies, and then at the end they pick up a book and they go, oh, that's you,
Whoa.
Miss Lady. So you wrote this book?
that's her. That's her.
It's so funny that all across the country,
Yeah.
Palm Beach, Florida, and just in various places where I've been, children, it's so funny to see them make that connection.
Yeah.
Because you tell them she's an author, and you come in and you talk about writing, and I kind of sound like a teacher, I kind of sound like a librarian. It's kind of stuff that they've heard before. So it's like, and then I start to drift off and talking about how I use Legos to inspire me when I'm stuck on a scene, or how how I talk with or visit my editor in New York, and they start to hear these things and they go, well, that's what a writer would do, like on TV. I wonder, did she really write that book? And then they see the picture in there, and they actually will shout out, oh, Miss Lady, you wrote that book. I go, well, yes, I did. And it's like they could just start the whole talk all over again.
Sure.
Like, it's just, so, that's a pretty cool, thing to have happen. I enjoy it.
Do you find that kids, when you go in and talk to them, do you find that they tend to gravitate? I mean, a kid that may or may not be interested in reading, after you have a talk with them,
yes,
and let them know the process that goes into something like this, do they pick up on it?
Well, yeah, because I'm sneaky. And what I do is sometimes I'll do a thing where we're going to work on a story, a book, approach creating a book the same way that I do at home.
Sure.
So we have to pick out the character, and it's pick out the names, and invariably everybody wants their name or the name of the person sitting next to them. Kids and their stuff.
Their
so
imagination.
we get through all that, and then we get to the nitty-gritty of the story building. Yeah. So we decide the genre. And then kids love ghost stories, so I pick that genre a lot, or a mystery. So we got the ghost story going, and then I stand right next to the kid who has turned his back on me, but I don't force them, I don't say anything, and I just keep asking the kids all around them, and then they, you guys see them, they're itching. This is too dumb for them, but oh wait, now that kid, I don't even like that kid, and he can talk. And then by the middle of it, they can't stand it anymore, and they want to say their part, and I'm like, oh, you turned your back, literally, physically turned your back on me, but now, and then at the end, invariably, that's the kid who's hanging around and wants to tell me their story, right. The story about a story or some other story.
Yeah.
When you get kids comfortable, they will tell you anything.
Oh yeah.
So
they will. So what you put on, it's a really interactive experience.
It's very interactive. Yeah. When I was a kid, I think I was undiagnosed dyslexic.
Yeah.
And I think I had a little I don't want to say like ADHD, but I did not have a great attention span.
Right.
I always loved to read and I love storytelling, but I like doing it in my own way and my own time. And so I feel for those kids who get the itchy. I was not a kid who wanted to just sit there.
Yeah, when we were kids, they called us twits.
Yeah.
You couldn't sit still.
Yes, yeah,
they didn't have all these terms.
Yeah, you didn't have a diagnosis.
No.
You were just sit there.
That's what it was.
Sherri Winston, you stop squirming around on that carpet.
They said that to me too.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's really funny if they called you Sherri Winston.
Well, no, not that.
But yeah, I mean, so I feel for those kids, and
Yeah.
sometimes when the schools have made the process like, I'm supposed to be there for an hour and 15 minutes, and you've got 200 kids sitting on the floor, in the middle of it, I take a break. We stand up, we do the hokey pokey, we turn around, we touch our toes, and yes, it's sometimes a little hard to bring them back, but I bring them back in stages, but you can't, I just think it's cruel to think that a regular 9-year-old kid is just okay with just sitting there on the floor, legs crossed, and 100% attention.
Yeah, they can't do it.
I'd fall asleep. I'd fall asleep on myself if I had to do that. So yeah, I
Pretty
do.
smart.
I do strive to be very interactive. I act more like a game show host.
Very cool.
Where I'm asking for the kids' input and what do you think, and I tell them, raise your hand. I never want to embarrass a child. I never want to make a child feel like they have to speak when they don't.
Yeah.
And it works. It works really well. My favorites are always in the in the library or the media center. Now, a few times in different places in Florida, I have been in the gym with a whole side of kids, middle school, I think both times. And, there's just not enough degree deodorant in the world for that. Because you're running, man. You got to keep these kids engaged and these kids engaged. And, it's I'm usually sweating after that. Yeah. So I like the media center though. They come because they know when they come to the media center, it's about books. It's about literacy. It has that branding on it already. Like, oh, I know we're going to go talk about writing because we're going to the library. So whether they like it or not.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
Give me the times again for this Saturday.
Finding characters everywhere. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
but there's Sherri.
Okay.
And this is writing workshops. All ages are welcome. It is this coming Saturday, the 14th at 10:30 at Hackely Public Library, and at 1:30 at Muskegon Heights Library. So 10:30 downtown and 1:30 in the Heights.
Just show up.
Yes, just show up.
That's it. It's going to be a great event. You are a firecracker. Are your books available on Amazon?
Oh, yeah, my books are. My latest book is The Sweetest Sound. It came out in January.
Very cool.
And they're both available at Barnes & Noble, at Amazon. Barnes & Noble has been a great friend of mine. Last summer, I believe, president of the whole 5th grade was an honor book, was an award book. So people who did their triathlon, I mean, it was nationwide. It did really well. I mean,
really?
the whole program. So yeah, so I like to give Barnes & Noble a shout out. But Amazon, indie bookstores, anywhere great books are sold.
Awesome. Sherri Winston, she's in town this weekend. A Heights Tiger, proud of it. Absolutely. Were you here for the reunion?
No.
I saw some of the pictures from last weekend. It looked like it might have gotten out of hand here or there, which is a good thing. We'll take it. Make sure you're at the Hackely Library or the Muskegon Heights Library. It's always good to see you, Barb. Thank you for
Andy.
Getting me down here. All the details will be right here on Positively Muskegon. Welcome home, Sherri. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.